Well, hello, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you happen to be, but hello and welcome to the Idea Training Academy, the weekly Idea Academy stream. This is something we do every single week, and it is all around how to help you reach the next level, whatever that level is. I want to welcome everybody who is viewing on Twitch, as well as everyone who might be popping in over on YouTube. Feel free to blow up the chat. Let me know how you're doing. Let me know how everything's going. I want to hear everything, you guys. I've got some stuff to talk about today, but I can see that things are a little bit janky on the stream. Hang on a second. That's weird. All of the frames per second are good. Strange things are strange. Beautiful. You're the goat, new face in the crowd. Let's go. Yeah, goat's been around for a bit. Let's see. Is this looking as janky as I think it might be? Hang on. You guys let me know. Am I a little bit stuttery for you? I think I might be. I think might need to pull the frame rate down a little bit. Hello, everyone. What's up, John? Welcome in. Yeah, I am a little bit stuttery. All right, guys. I'm going to stop the stream. I'm going to fix my settings. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. All right, let's try this again. Maybe this will work better this time. I've dialed the frame rate back a little bit, and hopefully that's gonna do the trick. I think It's possible that my aging PC may just be trying to handle too much. Thanks to those of you who stuck around through that. I apologize, technical difficulties. Sometimes they're just out of our control, and we deal with what we have to deal with. So thanks again for sticking around. Once again, to start again from the beginning, this is our weekly Idea Training Academy chat. On Thursdays, we do this every week. And this is all about your personal growth, your personal development. It's about, if you're a streamer, it's about the growth and health of your streaming career. It is about the growth of your personal career. If you're out there just in the working world, we talk all about work. Or if you want to get better at your relationships, if you want to get better at your communication, these are all things that we deal with here on the Idea Training Academy. So once again, I want to thank you guys so much for joining me today. And let's get started. I'm gonna vamp just a little bit longer. Over here on Twitch, we're in the middle of an ad break. Over there on YouTube, so if you're not following on my YouTube, make sure you jump over to YouTube. It's very easy to find, and you will never have ads in the middle of streams like this, for the most part. So we'll give it another second or two before we get started here, and we will proceed. Everything looks good. I'm just checking to make sure we're not getting any more weird glitches. I still don't completely love the frame rate. I think there might be some issues going on in the background, but that's okay. We're going to deal with it. We're going to press through. All right, 5 seconds left. So today, I've got a couple of different things that I want to talk about today, but I also want to make sure that I want to make sure that I'm getting questions from you as well. So I know that there are questions that you have sometimes. Sometimes it's not comfortable to ask here on the program, and have that tied even to your screen name here. So I'm going to drop a little chat here. I'm going to drop a little link here in the chat for you. There we go. This is how you ask a question. That is how you ask a question anonymously. It's already pinned on the YouTube side. That's what you've got. I only have one question coming into today, so I'll get to that towards the end. And I'll be honest with you guys. So I set up a poll in the community Discord site. If you're on Twitch, you can go to !Discord. If you are on the YouTube channel, I just want you to put in the comments, put Discord in the comments. I will personally DM you with an invitation to the Discord for this community. Or you can come on over to Twitch, and once again, !Discord. But coming into today, I've got a couple of things on my mind, and I want to talk to you about those. I also want to answer the questions that you have. We'll get towards that later. One of the things that I was talking about is we did have a poll on the community Discord, and that poll was around, would you like to see this expanded? We had a community member who said, hey, I want to see more of this. I want to see a longer chat on Thursdays. And so, we're trying it today. So for those of you who know, this is not the normal time. Usually we start at, I want to say normally we go 12:30 to 1:30 Pacific, or 1:30 to 2:30 Pacific. I'm not sure which one it is. But normally we start a little bit later. We're starting a little bit earlier today. And we are going to go until 2 o'clock Pacific time. So we're going to see how this works. If it doesn't find its footing, maybe we'll shrink it back. But this will be a little bit of an opportunity to have a chat today. The first thing, so talk to me. If you're in chat, blow up chat. Let me know what's going on in your life. Let me know what you're dealing with. Let me know what you're contending with. What are the obstacles that are out there right now that are in your way? What's on your mind? What's on your heart? What's in your soul? What are those things that you are up against right now? Let me know. We can talk through those things here on stream. But the couple of things that I come in with today are, first and foremost, guys, I'm in the middle of buying a car. So I don't know when the last time was that you bought a car, but I'm buying a car. This is the first time in, gosh, I don't know, probably 10 years that I've had to buy a car. This is we're looking at a brand new car. We're looking at a couple of different things. We are replacing an older vehicle that is just dying. It's just almost done. And so we're in a place where we need the new vehicle, but we're not desperately in need of the new vehicle, if that ever makes sense. And that's kind of, hey, Jake, are you getting rid of the lime green Fiat? The lime green Fiat is already gone, buddy. Let's try this again, Vendetta Gaming. Hello. Uh, I am good, my friend. Welcome in. Sorry about that. Everything crashed out on me, but I think we're stable now. So apologies. And welcome in to our Idea Training Academy stream here on Thursday. Yeah, Jake. So Jake knows I used to drive a green Fiat, a beautiful little green Fiat. We got rid of that back in 2020. We've been driving this other vehicle, and that's starting to break down. And so we're at the point where we're like, okay, we really need two cars anyway. And so let's go out and let's buy a new vehicle, and then we'll just kind of wait for this other one. We'll drive this other one around town. That'll be kind of our town car, and then we will wait for it to die, and then we'll figure it out at that point. Vendetta wouldn't be a stream if technical difficulties didn't occur. I would agree with you there. I don't know if for those of you who are in the live streaming world, and I know that's not going to encompass everybody, but for those of you who are actively in the live streaming world, you know that it's not a real stream if you don't have technical difficulties. So this today we can say is a real live stream. The lesson that I'm learning, there are a couple of different lessons I want to take from this process of buying a car. And the first is that you guys all know that I'm a huge fan and devotee. I have to plug this once a week of Erwin Raphael McManus's The Seven Frequencies of Communication: The Hidden Language of Human Connection. This is the book that just came out. It's available on Amazon right now. It's not expensive. It's a very short read, but it's amazing. Go and read this. It will change everything about the way that you see communication in life and how you resonate with other people. But one of the things that I've been doing as I've been going through this process of buying this car is I've been trying to pay attention to the different frequencies that are being used in the process. And now I've used already probably 4 or 5 of the different frequencies throughout the processor. Sometimes I bring in the motivator. And, I really want to build a connection between myself and the salesperson. And so sometimes I'll bring in that motivator that is the person who's encouraging and lifting up and telling people, what a great job they're doing. And sometimes it's the challenger. Sometimes when you get down to the sales part, it's like, hey, listen, I know you could do better than this. I believe that there's more here. I think we can press for the right deal between the two of us. Sometimes it's that. Sometimes it's the commander. And sometimes the commander just says, no, I'm not going to do that. That's not something I'm going to agree to, because the commander knows what is right, knows what to do, and is going to tell other people what to do. So it's really interesting how all of those different frequencies come into play. But I think the core of that is that you have to pay attention. It's important to be intentional about the frequencies that you're using and the frequencies that are being used on you, right? Because the whole process of sales is often finding a frequency that will resonate. And a good salesperson, if any of you, I don't know, let me know in chat if you've been in sales, if you are in sales, let me know what your philosophy is. But I was in sales for a very long time. And my philosophy, one of the reasons that I think I always did really well in sales is because that my philosophy was, I'm going to focus on getting the best solution to my client's problem. And there were a lot of other people out there who were kind of very lever pulling, and they would go out and they would try and find the things with the exact right margin and all of that to get ahead. But for me, it was always about let's do this one-on-one. Let's find what the best thing is for you. Let's find the right solution for you. And along the way, I believe that if I create the right solution for you, not only are you going to pay me a fair price, right? If you've got a solution that's fair, such as I have encountered in this car buying process, if somebody comes to me with a fair solution, I'm not going to go back and say, no, that's not good enough. Come at me with something else. But also, if somebody comes at me with a fair solution and we're able to make a connection that resonates, then when I need another car, I'm way more likely to go back to that same person. Now, I know this sounds like 101, sales 101, but number one, not everybody has been in sales. And it's really easy on the outside of sales to be super cynical about it, to go, oh, these people just want my money. Don't we do that all the time? Don't you do that? Don't you find yourself doing that all the time? You're like, you know what? Everybody just wants my money all the time. And there's no thought about what actually goes into the relational aspect of negotiating a deal. And it really isn't necessarily as cutthroat a thing as you might think it would be. Sometimes it really is just finding the right frequency that will be resonant between the two parties. Jake says, I always try to approach the sale from a service first sales mindset. Let me show you I'm a resource to be trusted. That way you can trust I'm mentioning something to you because it will genuinely help you. Exactly. And that's, so sales 101, right? It's all about getting into that customer's life and saying, okay, why did you come in the first place? What is it that you think you need? And what I've always taught people in the sales process and even in the service process is that often if you ask enough questions about what a client thinks they need, you will discover that they have needs that they didn't know they had walking in the door. And when you it here's the tip for you. If you're just going into sales, if you've been in sales and you haven't figured this out, if no one's ever told you this, here's the tip for you. When you find and meet an actual unmet need and unknown need for a client, you will have a customer for life. That's all there is to it. I can tell you dozens of times when that's happened, when somebody's walked in the front door and I've been able to build enough rapport with them, ask them enough questions, and find out that they didn't really know what it was they needed, and that I could help them with that at a really, really good price. And that's when you know you're doing it right. Kitty Cat says, that's why I would prefer to support small businesses instead of large ones. I feel as small businesses are more personable and not always out to get money. At least most places are. Yeah, you'll find different cultures in different places. There are very large businesses that I've worked for in the past where I've been able to operate on these same principles. A lot of times, the catch is the overall culture of the store or the unit that you're walking into. And sometimes you'll have people who are, those really, you'll know right away, right? You'll know what kind of people that they are. They're those really kind of greasy, kind of used car salespeople that we think about. But honestly, you will find that maybe those are not as common as we think they are. And one of the things that we're going to talk about in a little bit is about how our perspective coming into things affects the way that we experience other people in the world. I think about that. I think about the scene in The Empire Strikes Back. Let's go to Star Wars, the book of Star Wars, as it were, the great philosophical work of Star Wars, and going to The Empire Strikes Back. And in The Empire Strikes Back, Luke Skywalker is training on Dagobah, this swampy swamp planet with Yoda, this little green dude who can lift things up with his mind, and Luke can't understand how it's all working. And there's one point where there's this dark side tree, right? There's this tree with this cave into it, and Yoda says, "We, you have to go in there." And Luke says, "What's in there?" And Yoda says, "Only what you take with you." Right? Only what you take with you. So many, many times I find that what we take with us in anticipation into any social interaction. Now we're not even talking about sales. Now we're just talking about one-on-one personal social interactions. What you take with you into those interactions sometimes can affect the actual outcome, regardless of what the intent was of the other person coming in. I'm reading this book right now. This is a great book, High Performance Habits. This is by Brendan Burchard, an amazing guy, great speaker, a super high performance coach. Works with some of the highest performing people in the world across many many industries. And one of the things that he says in this book is that high performers consistently expect positive social outcomes. And so expecting those positive social outcomes is a part of how you can actually drive yourself towards being a high performer. Something to think about. Tal says, just remembered it was Thursday, and I remember to come look for the show. And here we are, Tal. Welcome in. It's good to have you. It's very good to have you. So that's the first thing. I'm noticing that there are a lot of different frequencies that are coming into play as I'm buying the car. But here's another aspect of it. Because traditionally, I've bought a few cars down the line over the course of my years, and some of those cars have not been great investments. We've had a couple that, in fact, the car that we're driving right now was not a great investment. We bought it used. It was a good price, But then after we bought it, we found out that there were a ton of things that were wrong with it. Well, when you go back to what happened in that moment, a big part of it was we made the decision about the vehicle, about purchasing the vehicle when we needed it. So we made the decision to make the purchase and the vehicle to purchase when we were in dire need. We had to have another car, and so we went out and we bought another car that looked like it was a good deal. But because we made that decision in the moment of need, we didn't really take time to go through all of the decision making process. And we've talked, look at the show from a couple weeks ago. If you want to hear a little bit more about what I think about the decision making process, you can check that out. But the decision making process is much like the three stages of work. I'll go back to the three stages of work for you real quick. I'm going to lay out the model for you. The three stages of work, we start, number one, we start with the ideation phase. So ideation is where we're doing the brainstorming. We're thinking, we're really trying to figure out what is the problem that we're trying to solve, right? In this particular case, well, we got to have another vehicle, right? But is that really the problem that we're trying to solve? Maybe not. Maybe the problem that we're trying to solve is we need transportation for everybody who needs transportation. Well, now that we're looking at that from another angle, now we have multiple different potential solutions. So now we move from discovering the problem into trying to figure out what possible solutions are. And those solutions could be things like, hey, maybe we do need to buy another car. Or maybe we don't. Maybe we need to figure out how to use public transit. Or maybe we need to do what we did this last year, which was buy an electric scooter that will allow us to get short distances around town. So it's really about coming up with the right problem and then coming up with solutions and then narrowing down which of those is the right solution. And this is the process of discernment. Now, this is the stage that we kind of left out the last time around. You've got to really look at it and you've got to look at all the solutions and you've got to discern which one feels right. And there's a certain amount where this is just trusting your gut. And that's super uncomfortable for a lot of people. Trusting your gut can be a difficult thing to do. But it's not really that. It's not really just going on instincts because that sounds like we're just shooting in the dark. It's not that. It is using all of your past experiences and being able to draw connections between things and understand how the dots connect. So, in this particular case, it could be, well, you know what? In the past, we've jumped into some vehicles. They haven't been great for us. Maybe we need to pause on that, right? Or maybe, you know what? The places where we've been looking at cars. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's a process of have we considered all the alternatives, right? So we're discerning down. We're finding the right solution. We're determining that we're going to activate on the right solution. And then what we're going to do, and I'm so sorry, it's allergy season here apparently, and also there's a lot of yard work being done outside my house. So I'm a little bit stuffed up, a little bit runny nose. It's a whole world that I'm going through right now. But once you've discerned the right solution, it's activating on it in the right way and paying attention, using your frequencies, your core frequencies, to make sure that you're communicating clearly. Because most often, a solution of any kind will include communication. And I want you to think about this. If you're consistently coming to solutions and choosing solutions, selecting for solutions, and they don't include communication of any kind, then what is probably happening is you are executing before you've really thought it all the way through. Because most solutions are going to require you to communicate effectively with other people. And that's one of the reasons I say if you're going to work on a skill, on a personal skill, focus on communication first. Make that the first thing that you really focus on because if you're really good at communication, it will open a million doors to you. I'll tell another story. I'm working with a client out in New York, and this client is applying for an executive director position with a business that she's very experienced, she's very qualified to run this business. But she came to me because she said as a part of the interview process, they want me to give a 20-minute presentation on what my vision would be as the executive director. What am I going to do? This person's she has the geniuses of wonder and the genius of invention. And so she's very good at that ideation, that conceptualization. But sometimes it's harder for her to bring those things down to earth to be able to communicate them in a way that's meaningful to other people. And so as we worked through her presentation, my advice to her was lean into the stories of how you've been successful in the past and how those successes could be applied to your future with this organization. Now, this is a great tip for you in anything at all, right? In general, I'm going to tell you this. Use your past successes as platforms to get to your future successes. If your past successes are just sitting around in your past and maybe you dust them out and you brush them off every once in a while, you look at them and you think, "Oh, that was a great success, but I'm over here today." If that happens, they're useless to you. They didn't get you anywhere. So you've got to really know why you succeeded. And the answer can't be I was lucky. The answer can't be I was blessed. I know for the religious ones out there, it's not the answer. It's not the answer was not that you were blessed. Maybe you were. Maybe you were lucky. Maybe you were blessed. Maybe those things happened. But the answer is really that at some point, when that moment came along, there was a decision that you made or a choice that you made that helped you take advantage of it. So you have to be able to diagnose those past successes as much as you can diagnose your past failures and figure out what caused each of those things. So that's a little bit about that. But it was really that concept of maybe making the choice when I need to make the choice is not the best way to do it. Maybe making the choice before I need to make the choice is the right way to do it. And so as a result, we're now in a position where we've got a vehicle that's doing okay, it's doing fine. It will probably survive for quite some more time. But we also know that if we wait to make the choice on the next vehicle until that vehicle is dead, that we're not going to be in the position to make the best decision. Put yourself in the position to make the best decision. And you can do that by pre-deciding. Pre-decide right now something in your life that's coming up. Maybe it's further out than you think you're going to need to decide on it. Now is the time to choose. Now is the time to pre-decide. Now is the time to do your research. Now is the time to be informed. Do not wait till later. Do not wait until it is too late. Because if you wait until the moment of decision, it is already too late. So, couple of things out of my car buying experience. And by the way, to that point, we should have a new car within another couple of days. Everything's been going pretty well in the research and negotiation process. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm working through that, but I wanted to bring a couple other things today. I know that you've got the title of today's stream, and the title of today's stream is all about the shadow side of gratitude. What does that mean to you? How does that resonate with you when I say the shadow side of gratitude? If you're in any of the self-help or the personal development or any of those things, if you're in any of those worlds, you know that gratitude is a vitally important part of leveling yourself up. In fact, if you think about it, it's one of the core essential concepts. Neuroscientists have in fact called gratitude the lubrication of the brain. They're saying that being grateful and being intentionally grateful about things actually increases your neuroplasticity and makes you more agile from a brain standpoint, makes you better able to handle situations when they change or when they become difficult. So, first question I'll ask of you is this: do you have a gratitude practice at all? Do you have any kind of gratitude practice? Anything? And if you don't, I will challenge you now to go and start one. And I'll give you some ideas. So there is a free resource that you can get if you throw down in the comments here on YouTube. If you throw planner into that, just the word planner, Planner. I will direct message you. I'll send this to you perfectly for free. If you are in the Twitch, hit me up, !Discord. Send me a whisper on Twitch or message me on the Discord. I will send this tool to you for free. But this tool it's all around the way that I set up my day. And what I've discovered is many people sit down in the morning with a kind of a traditional planner and it becomes a to-do list. So I sit down in the morning and I am with my coffee and I'm thinking of, oh, what are all of the things that I'm going to do today? Okay, well, I have to, send an email to Eddie at work, and I have to, I have to call the car lot back about the car that we've been looking at, and I need to set up all of the things for my stream, all of the things that I need to do, all of the things that I need to do. And I'm suggesting to you that while it's good to know what needs to be done, it's way more important to approach the day with a plan as to how you're going to show up in that day. And so instead of starting my morning with a to-do list, I start it with a list of commitments. And I'll walk through those commitments with you right now. Give me just 1 second to get this pulled up. But let me ask you in the meantime, let me know in the comments here, how do you start your day? What does the beginning of your day look like? And how do you use that to make your day more productive? Does it make your day more productive? Or does it just create additional constraints on your day? So these are the 7 commitments. I make 7 commitments every morning. 7 commitments every morning, and then one other piece. So I always start from a position of gratitude. Every morning, I write down in my daily commitment sheet, I write down the 3 things that I'm grateful for today. What are 3 things that I'm grateful for today? So think about it right now. Wherever you're at, think about what are 3 things that you're grateful for right now. Write those down if you can. Get them down. Get them on paper. Make them real. If you can't, maybe it works better for you in your mind. Some people take gratitude walks. That's fine. But 3 things every day. Come up with 3 things that you're grateful for. So I'm going to say, like today, for example, if I'm in this moment at this space, the 3 things that I'm grateful for are I am grateful for this stream and the audience of this stream, because I know that people show up here on a weekly basis because they want to grow and they want to change and they want to become better versions of themselves. Because it's my mission in life to help introduce people to the best version of themselves. I'm grateful that you show up to these streams. That's one thing I'm grateful for. Second thing that I'm grateful for is I am grateful for my wife. My wife is an amazing partner for me, and not just in the romantic partnership sense, but she's a great thought partner for me. She helps me work through processes and come to the right solutions for the problems in my life. And as a result, I am hyper grateful for my wife. And then the third thing that I'm going to say is I'm grateful for my financial circumstances right now. Now I'm not doing great. I'm not super wealthy right now. But I am in a position where when something comes up like this car purchase that I've been talking about, I'm okay to do it. I'm not going to put myself behind the 8 ball just because I need to purchase a vehicle. So I'm grateful for those 3 things. What are you grateful for right now? Let me know. Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the chat. So that is the first thing. Now we go to the 7 commitments. Here are the 7 commitments. Are you ready? Here we go. Commitment number 1. Commitment number 1 is this: 2 things I'm going to get done today. So every morning, the first commitment I make is to myself about 2 things I'm going to get done today. Now, I don't want you to expand your list, your daily list, beyond 2 things. I know those of you who have the genius of tenacity out there, the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go and build a list of, oh, wait, but I have way more than 2 things to get done today. No, that's how you get into overthinking, is by padding up your list with too many things. My recommendation is start with 2. Start with 2 that you have to get done. And then when you've got those things done, you can move on to the next things. But that's my first commitment of every day. 2 things I have to get done today. Commitment number 2. 1 thing that I'm going to learn today. 1 thing that I'm going to learn today. I'm going to come back to this towards the end of the stream. But in Brendon Burchard's book about high performers, one of the things that he's discovered, and this is by talking to, his audience is millions of people worldwide. One of the things that is consistent amongst high performers is that they are continuously learning. So ask yourself this: what is one thing that I am going to learn today? Commit to it. Now we'll get back more to back to like how you can make that, we can hack that, we can make that even better. But start with that. So commitment one, what are two things I have to get done today? Two things I'm going to get done today. Commitment two, one thing I'm going to learn today. Commitment three, one skill I'm going to practice today. So as a part of the learning process, you should be continuously practicing different skills. Do you have any new skills that you're learning and practicing right now? Uh, Angela Duckworth in her book Grit talks about the fact that dedicated practice, forcing yourself to undertake activities that require daily dedicated practice, actually increase your resilience. And as your resilience increases, your potential for more growth increases, and the likelihood that you will succeed in whatever you do increases. So, what are you going to practice today? What's a skill that you're learning that you're going to practice today? Husband found me a 4D Jeep, not specifically what I was looking for, but it was a decent price. Be a four-wheel drive for winter. I'll send pics later. Let's go. That's great, Tal. That's awesome. So, what's one skill I'm going to practice today? So, commitment number one, two things I'm going to get done today. Number two, one thing I'm going to learn today. Number three, one skill I'm going to practice today. And then number four, a promise I'm going to keep to myself again today. So, what's a promise you can keep to yourself today? Grateful for my winter ride, my two horses who have saved me more than once, my awesome support team between work and various streams I followed. That's amazing, Tal. See, I love it. There's gratitude right there. And just taking the time to acknowledge that automatically puts you in a better place to win the day. I love that. I love that so much. So number four is a promise I'm going to keep to myself today. This could be any kind of promise, guys. It could be, hey, you know what? Today, I'm really going to lean into listening to people. I'm going to talk less and I'm going to listen more to see what I can learn about people. One of the things I've been working on in my personal life lately is asking more questions and giving less information about myself. And that's not to cover up, that's not to stay private or to keep things hidden or anything like that. But what I've found is I learn way more from people when I ask them questions instead of just come in with all of my wisdom and all of my knowledge, whatever, I think I am, right? If I bring myself back and realize that I have something to learn from everybody, I do better. And not only do I do better, I'm more interesting. People like me more. People are much more likely to stick around. So that's a commitment that I'm making to myself lately is ask questions before I offer information. Now, obviously, it doesn't work as well in this context because you and I are on opposite sides of the screen. Maybe you're typing in chat. Maybe you're watching the replay. Maybe you don't exist at all. I don't know. But in this particular case, obviously, I'm talking pretty much straight for a couple of hours. But I do love the interaction, right? That's the thing. When I'm asking you questions, and when I ask you to send me questions through the link, which is by the way pinned in both chats, I want to know because I want to know what you want to know. I want to know where your head's at, where your space is. So, number one, two things that I will get done today. Number two, one thing I'm going to learn today. Number three, one skill that I'm going to practice today. Number four, a promise I will keep to myself today. Number five, something I will do for someone else today. So this one is great. I love this one. If there's a thing that drives my day, this is it. I love this promise. This is a commitment, something I can do for someone else today. Because I believe, and you've heard me say it before if you've been in these streams, but I believe that the only thing that moves into eternity is the things that we do for other people. And that's backed up by the high performance book. It's backed up by the grit book that I talked about. People who are successful are highly focused on how their success serves other people than themselves. Make no difference about it. If all you are focused on is yourself, Eventually, you will be alone. And it is infinitely harder to succeed alone than it is with other people who care and love you. So, what's one thing I will do for someone else today? That is my fifth commitment. My sixth commitment. Now, you may say this a little bit differently. I have phrased it a little bit different in the free resource that I'm offering. Once again, if you'd like this free resource, in the comments section, please just type planner. Hit me with the word planner. I will send it directly to you. I'm not even going to collect your email address, none of that stuff. This is just straight from me to you. It's totally free. It's my 7 commitments planner. You can check it out. It comes with a reflection page. It comes with a weekly planning page. You can use it. You can borrow parts of it. You can use none of it. Totally up to you. But let me know. And again, if you're on the Twitch side, definitely hit me up with a message and let me know if that's something that you would like. So the sixth commitment is the way I say it to myself because of what I believe is what's something I can do for God today? What's something I will do for God today? Now, you may have a different beliefs. You may believe in the universe or a God or whatever it is you believe in. So, planner, thank you, Tal. I'll make sure I get that over to you. Um, the way that the way that I've worded this on the resource is what is something I will do to improve spiritually, mentally, emotionally today. So you can make this a commitment that's exterior, as I do, right, to something that you believe in, or you can make it a commitment that's interior, saying, what's a commitment again to myself, but to a way that I will connect to something bigger than me. If you've ever been in a 12-step course of any kind, you'll know that one of the steps of recovery is connecting to something that's bigger than you. And so, whatever that is, whatever you believe in, it's important that you connect to something that is larger than you. Because if your entire universe begins and ends at you, that's the same as being alone. And that's untenable. It won't work. So, commitment number 7. Here's the last one. This is it. How will I go above and beyond today? How will I go above and beyond today? How will I elevate? What in my life will I use today to elevate to the next level? Maybe it's something as simple as saying, you know what? I'm going to be kind in all of my interactions. That will elevate you. Maybe it's back to another learning goal. Or maybe it's like, you know what? Today I will not procrastinate. Whatever it is, what's one thing that you can do to elevate, to go above and beyond today? And again, please apologize the nose itching because it is very planty around here right now. So those are my 7 commitments. Let me go through them. Go through the 7 commitments again real fast. What are 2 things that I will do today? What is one thing that I'm going to learn today? What is one skill that I'm going to practice today? What is one promise I will keep to myself today? What is one thing I will do for someone else today? What is one way I will connect to something bigger than me today? And what is one way that I can go above and beyond today? I want to send you that planner. It's a free digital planner. Let me know. Tal, I see that you want it. I'll make sure that you get it. I'll get it out to you right after this. So thank you so much. So that's what that's a part of starting your day with commitments. But we're going back to the beginning of that. And the beginning of that is gratitude. And gratitude, like I said, gratitude is great. You've got to be grateful about things. You've got to be intentionally grateful about things. But here's the trick. Sometimes gratitude can have a shadow side. And we've talked about the shadow of things. Erwin in the 7 frequencies talks about the shadow of a communication frequency is when it becomes its own end, or when the frequency of communication becomes about the communicator. So, for example, if I'm being the motivator brings belief to the room, right? They bring energy and belief. But if I'm being the motivator, but really it's all about me, like I'm motivating you so that you will love me. I'm motivating you so that you will believe in me. If I'm doing that, then I'm in the shadow of the motivator, which is the performer. Now, I think that our daily disciplines and habits can do this same thing. You put it in Discord. Thank you, Tal. I appreciate it. I'll remember it probably better there. How can gratitude have a shadow side? Well, when gratitude turns in on itself and becomes an end to its own, it turns into a shadow. And here's how that works. If being grateful for what I have means that I now have a drive to maintain what I have, that's the shadow side. Because what happens is gratitude in that case becomes selfishness. So let's pull this apart for a moment. So if you look around yourself right now and you're like, you know what, my life is pretty good. Everything's pretty good. Just going to keep performing at this level. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. You know what's eventually going to happen is eventually you're going to probably burn out. Either you're going to burn out, or worse yet, you're going to become your own ceiling. Because where you are comfortable at staying is where you will stay. The bar that you set for yourself is the bar that you will achieve. So if you look around and you're like, hey, this is the life that I want, then more power to you. But just know that that's all the further you'll ever get. You won't climb to the next step. So if you're driven to become a high performer, if you're driven to become the best version of yourself, you cannot be always satisfied with what you have. Now, it's good to be grateful for what you have, but when that gratefulness turns into satisfaction and moving into this protective mode, then that's when it becomes problematic. Now, I'll let you know, this has happened to me a lot during my life. Back in my career when I was working in sales and in finance, there were a couple of times where I got to a place where, hey, you know what? I'm making quite a bit of money. Like my job's not really hard. I'm kind of doing the same thing. I can kind of kick back and let things happen. And you know what happened is that's where I stayed. I didn't move. I didn't move anywhere. And maybe you feel like you're just hanging on where you're at. Maybe you feel like, gosh, but if I don't protect what I have, then I'm always at risk of losing everything. But let me suggest to you that the best way to move through the fear of losing everything is to put yourself in a position where you can gain. See, you can do two things. If you're playing football, right? You can win the game on offense and you can save the game on defense, but it's really hard to win a game on defense, right? Because the defense is not designed to score points. It's not designed to go out and get better things. The defense is designed to maintain what you have and to not lose more of it. So let me urge you to live a life on offense and not on defense. And I know that's really hard for some of you. It's hard for me, right? Because you get to that place and you're like, yeah, but if I make that jump, if I make that leap, maybe I don't know where my next rent payment is coming from, or maybe I don't get that new car, that I want to be able to buy, or maybe things get harder for me. And yeah, maybe those things are true. But if you put yourself in a mindset that says, I'm only going to protect what I have, you will never achieve more. And I just don't feel like most people are satisfied that way because it's a human intrinsic. It's one of the things that's core to our being that we want progress. We want to be moving towards something. And if you're maintaining, you're not moving towards something. And I think that eventually that will kill you. Ben, Orpheus protect, but he also attack. That is true. That's exactly true. What's up, Ben? Welcome in. It's Ben Torres, my good friend, to the north, are the amazing Canadian beer streamer. It's good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. So, lack of achievement is gratitude turns in upon itself, which becomes a form of selfishness. It operates from this fear that I'll mess up what I have, right? And how fragile do you think your life is? Do you honestly think that all of the things that you've worked for are going to come crumbling down if you take a risk? If you jump up to the next level, or if you just work towards elevating yourself a little bit? It's highly unlikely, right? It's a fear of something that doesn't really exist most of the time. So do a real risk assessment. If you find yourself in a place where you're like, no, I'm just grateful for what I have. It's great. It's so great. I'm just going to leave it. Doing great. Hopefully you are as well. I'm doing amazing, Ben. Thank you. Thank you. Don't let yourself rest in that place. If you haven't taken a risk in a long time, if you're not afraid of the next thing you have to do, then let me suggest that you find something to be afraid of. Find something that scares you and run towards that fear because that may be your next level. Now, there's another aspect to gratitude that I think can be a shadow side, and that is that gratitude moves us towards a false sort of humility. And I see this in I've seen this in the religious and in the church world specifically a lot where I look around at people and they're saying, "Oh, you know what? I am just grateful for what I have." And they're seeing that as humility. It's a form of humility. It's a form of, you know what? I am you know what? I'm just giving it all to God, right? It's just all comes from God, right? This is not the way humility actually functions. Humility actually is not invisibility. Those are two different things. See, a lot of people in the church world that I've been in, they think, you know what? You just gotta live, they use that verse in Romans that says, if at all possible, live in peace with everybody around you. And they say, well, we just need to live at peace. We just need to, can't we all just get along, right? They're saying that, can't we all just get along? Um, but in the process, I see so many of these people subvert the parts of their personality that could make them great because they have this false humility that says, "Oh, I can't do anything on my own." Well, yes, you can do anything on your own. Let me tell you right now, if you, for those of you who you don't necessarily believe, check out for a second. But if you believe that you were made by a God who filled you with purpose, then you are not made to be invisible. You are made to use what you are given in service of the world around you. And if you're not doing that, if you're becoming invisible, then what you are doing is the exact opposite of what you are called to do. Now, even if you don't believe in that framework, you all can come back now. Even if you don't believe in that framework, listen, if your responsibility is not to more people than yourself, I am telling you again and again and again and again, you will not reach your highest level. Your responsibility must be to some power higher than yourself, whether that's your community, whether that's the universe, whether that's God, whatever it is, right? That's so important. So this false sense of humility cannot cannot be an excuse not to achieve. Walked away from organized religion because I saw them say one thing but do another. I mean, that's a problem, Tal. You know what? It's not everywhere. It's not everywhere, but it is manywheres. So, that's the key. That's the key, right? There's a lot to be said. Let me take a quick side jump on this. There's a lot to be said just for doing what you say you're going to do. One of the organizations that I'm working with here in California right now, it's a charitable organization, and people have come to them recently and they've said, "Well, how is it that all of a sudden you've got this big change in reputation?" They were one of these old organizations that's been around for a long time and kind of run by a lot of old white dudes for a lot of years. And it's this irony, right, that these people who are in the community that don't look anything like the community that they're in are just kind of pointing their finger and going, "Oh yes, we know what needs to be fixed. We know what needs to be fixed." But they're not actually going out and finding out what the needs of the community are. And so they're saying all these great things. Oh, we're going to drive for change. We're going to be a force of change in this community. They're going on and on and on about these things. But over time, they get a reputation for not really doing anything. And so when we asked the leader of this organization, um, what is it that changed your reputation? He said, one very simple thing: we have committed to doing what we say we're going to do. And that's really, really, really important that you do what you're committed to do, or you are committed to doing what you say you're going to do. So go back to the 7 commitments for that, right? If you're going to make those 7 commitments, keep the 7 commitments. And if you don't, figure out why you didn't, right? But don't use gratitude as an excuse to create false humility, because humility, the real thing about humility is humility says, I am not greater than the sum of the people around me. Real humility says, I'm here, you know what? I'm here to serve people, not to be served. Again, we'll go back to the Bible, right? That's what Jesus said is, hey, I came to serve people, not to be served, right? That was a mind-blowing shift for the people in that day. They could not understand that there might be such a thing as a divine being that was actually there to serve them instead of simply to be served. But the point that was being made there was that's the model for what it is to be most divine, but it's also the model for what it means to be most human. So when even carrying it out of that religious context, the fact of the matter is what it means to be most human is to be prepared to serve. And the way that I've talked about it in many years past, I've always had that phrase. When I worked with even with my sales teams, I talked about sales earlier, but in the past I've always talked about the idea that make somebody else look good. Don't just show up to make yourself look good, but make somebody else look good. And I remember there was a dude on my staff named Aaron. This was way back at Best Buy back in the days when I was a young sales manager. So obviously it was a long time ago. And he said, "You know what's great about that philosophy, Andrew?" He said, "What's great about your philosophy of make somebody look better is that I don't have to worry about the way I look anymore. Because if I'm looking out for Tony and Tony's looking out for Sean, Sean's going to be looking out for whoever, and they're going to be looking out for me. Because if you really commit to making each other look good, when you're on a team, when you're in a family, when you're in a group, when you're in a community, when you really commit to making each other look good instead of just making yourself look good, that's the key to humility. And what ends up happening is the entire group is lifted. So that's really, really good. But don't get stuck in false humility that just says, "Oh, you know what? I haven't earned anything. I haven't, it's all from whatever." That's dumb, and it will not lead you to elevate. Here's the key indication. The key indication that you're not doing enough of the right things. Now, listen, this is the part where it gets a little bit itchy because I'm going to tell you, you're probably not doing enough of the right things. You probably have further to go. You probably have more to do. Here's the indication. If at least in some part of your life, maybe you've got parts of your life on track, but there are parts of your life where you're not doing enough right now. And here's what it is. The key indication that you're not doing enough of the right thing should be this. A simultaneous at the same time, it should be a recognition of how good your life is and the sense that something is missing or the sense that things could be better, something is out of place. If you don't have that continual feeling that, you know what, things could be a little bit better. I could tighten up. I could be a little bit more considerate. I could be a little bit more empathetic. I could be a little bit more contextual when dealing with people. I could be a little bit hungrier and work a little bit harder. Maybe I could go just one extra mile. If you don't have that sense in your life, then you're done. You're at your ceiling. You're done. There should always be a sense that in some part of your life there is place for growth because when an organism does not grow, the organism is dead. So don't be a dead organism. Look for the places where you can grow. And this is the answer right here, I think, to the FOMO question. Somebody asked this a little bit ago, and they said, "What can we do? What can I do to prevent the fear of missing out?" Right? That's what FOMO means, the fear of missing out. And what I would say to that person is, fear of missing out is driven by the idea that what I have is the best I can have, and that's complacency. So if you have this fear of missing out, then it's probable that you believe that what you have is the best you can have. You need to challenge that belief. You need to raise that ceiling. You need to get out of that seat and you need to go do it because you can. Listen, you have everything that you need to make the next step in your life. You don't even need me to tell you. I'm grateful that you come here so I can remind you of that. I hope that I can give you the energy and the excitement and the belief in yourself to do it. But you don't need me. It's already inside of you. You have to activate it though. And you can only do that through attention, which means being really knowledgeable about yourself, really knowing yourself, and intention, being on purpose with all of the decisions you make. Stop living a life by accident and expecting to succeed. Start living a life on purpose and expect that you will cause success to happen. There's a real fine line there. One of the biggest myths, one of the biggest self defeating beliefs that we have is that success happens by accident. Is that, you know what, we just cruise through life. Some people get on the success train and some people don't. And if you believe that, I'll tell you right now, you're never going to find success. You'll never find it. It is highly unlikely that success is going to find you. It is highly likely that if you focus on the areas of your life where you can learn and grow, that you will find success beyond what you ever dreamed. Hey, Heavy Metal Sunshine, what's up? How's it going, my friend? Welcome in. Good to see you. Good to see you. So, a few more things. Let me. So, as we're kind of winding towards the back end of this, a few more things from Brendon Burchard's book that kind of played into this thought process for me this week. One of the things he said is how positive you feel about yourself is tied to how well you know yourself. So I mentioned just a second that you will only achieve success through attention, knowing yourself, and intention, being on purpose with the way you live your life. Going good, still job hunting. Woof, I'm kind of lurking. It's been nice listening. Well, good, Sunshine. I'm glad. I'm glad that you're around. I hope that job hunting is going well for you. I hope that all turns out the way that you're hoping it would. Anyway, so we have you in our thoughts for sure. So you will only live the life that you're meant to live through attention, knowing yourself, and intention, being on purpose about the decisions you make. But what Burchard suggests here is that how positive you feel about yourself is directly tied to how well you know yourself. So here's what he's saying. If your self-talk is negative, if all of your self-talk is negative, if the things that you are saying to yourself and the things that you are believing about yourself are all negative, then you don't really know yourself. Instead, you're actually putting a persona on yourself. And the danger with that is that if you continue to heap that persona onto yourself, you will eventually become that. You will eventually become what you say about yourself. So it's really important to think about the positive version of who you are. Because once you know that positive version of who you are, that becomes the platform for the right kinds of actions that will move you forward. And the next question becomes, how do you become the person that you need to be? So in my IDEA acronym, I always start with I, which is I for identity. And I always say that identity is about knowing yourself, but you have to know yourself in 3 time zones. Can I get the full title of the Habits book? Oh, by the way, hi. Hey, Sungya, what's up, dude? How's it going, man? Yes, the full title of the Habits book, sorry, and welcome in, is it's called High Performance Habits, How Extraordinary People Become That Way. It's by Brendon Burchard. He was one of the people I heard speak at the Arena Summit last week. Amazing. Great book. Great dude. So I would say in terms of your identity, you need to know yourself in 3 time zones. You need to know yourself in the past because who you were in the past is the most primal, most basic form of you. That is the first rung on the ladder. And being able to see yourself through your past successes and failures is the first step to being able to move forward. You have to know yourself in the present. You have to be realistic about what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, what you're good at, what you're not good at, what you love, what you don't love. But here's the problem. Most people stop there. They stop there and they're like, okay, well, I know who I am. All right. I'm going to lean into my strengths and I'm going to avoid my weaknesses. No, that's not how highly successful people become that way. That's not how high performers become high performers. The high performers are always looking for clarity. This is Brandon Burchard, always looking for clarity around who they need to be, not just who they want to be. It's good to know who you want to be. It's certainly good. But it's all about who you need to be. So who do you need to be to get to what you want to do, to get to what you're made for in life? Grab me some wisdom at lunchtime. Let's go, dude. To get to what you want to do in life, or what you need to do, or what you were designed to do, or what you were destined to do. I don't care how you say it. There is something greater ahead of you. And to get to that greater moment, you must determine what type of person you need to be. Now, the problem is we are told so many times that we do not have control over the type of person that we will become. Oh, you know what? You were born with a certain, disadvantage, whether it be your ethnicity or your gender or your ability level or your IQ or whatever. You are born with certain disadvantages, and those will determine who you are. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Those are aspects of your life. They may become obstacles to you, but they are not your identity. Those are identifiers for you. I am so tired of hearing people use identifiers in place of their identity. Listen to me right now. If you're prone to say, I identify as such and such, right? You're using shorthand for your identity. No, be a person. Be the person that you are. And more important, be the person that you need to become to do what you need to do. Start thinking about yourself as that future person right now. Start talking about yourself as that future person. You know what? I'm the person who carries through on his commitments. I'm the person who, helps organizations become more healthy. I'm the person who introduces people to the best version of themselves. Those are the things that I had to tell myself a year ago when I started, this whole journey. And if I didn't tell myself those things then I could not become the person that I am now. And if I do not tell myself now about the person that I am to become, then I will never become that person. Do not tell yourself stories about your past. Do not tell yourself stories about your present, but tell yourself stories about the future, because that is how you will move towards who you are meant to be. Nice. Well, thank you for the subscription. How's it going, my friends? Good to see you. Thank you for the 14 months as well. Guys, once again, we're live on Twitch as well as on YouTube. If you're on the YouTube side right now, guys, can I ask you just a favor real quick? If I could just ask you a favor, if you're watching on the YouTube, whether you're live or on the replay, can I just ask you to hit the subscribe button? I know everybody asks for it. I know it's a super cliche thing to ask for, but could I just ask on the YouTube side, it doesn't cost you any money. It literally is a simple click, but it means a whole lot, because it means that these messages that I have, we can get those out to more and more people. And so I appreciate that. If you're on the Twitch side, I appreciate you being here as well. I know that subscribing on this side definitely does cost money. And so for those who are monetarily supporting these efforts, I do appreciate you. But I also want to appreciate those who are simply hitting that follow button and who are just joining a part of this community, because this community is dedicated to lifting each other up. We're dedicated to growing together. We're dedicated to becoming the most elevated version of who we can possibly become. So I hope you're feeling that. I hope you want to do that along with us. All right. I think we're moving into kind of the last section of what I have. It looks like probably not going to end up going the full 2 hours. I'm going to move into the last section of what I have here. And then I'm going to switch over to a question. We do have one question. And once again, it pinned up in the comments, guys. There is on both of the Twitch and the YouTube chats, there is a link to anonymously asked questions. If you don't feel comfortable throwing them in chat, if you want to throw them in chat, throw them in chat. It's fine. If you're watching the replay, throw them in the comments, and I will gladly answer those on next stream as well on the YouTube side. But I will answer the one question that we have today, because we have one left. And we'll do that after I kind of hit up the last my last point of the day. My last point of the day was this: what are you learning? We talked about this a little bit before, right? When I talked about my 7 daily commitments, one of the 7 daily commitments is one thing I'm going to learn today. I commit to learning one new thing every day. But here's another thing that I've learned from Brandon Burchard is that high performers don't shotgun learn, if that makes sense. They don't just go out and randomly pick a topic. Oh, I'm going to learn today. I'm going to learn about the birds. Today, I'm going to go out and I'm going to learn about mechanical engineering. No, they have a primary focus area, right? A primary area of focus, and they commit to continuous learning and laser sharp focused learning in that area. The example he uses is when he discovered that he was meant to be in the personal development space, which is this same kind of conversation that you and I are having. He realized that there were tons of people in that space. And so he laser focused his learning on how to market, on how to get his message out to more people. And so he learned everything he could about that. And as a result, now he has millions and millions of followers worldwide. So my question for you is, and this is the question that I'll leave you with today. We're not done yet, but this is the question, the last question that I'll kind of leave you with today is, what are you learning? What are you learning right now that's pointing you in the direction of becoming the future person that you want to be? So hit me with that. Hit me with that in the comments. Hit me with that in the chat. Let me know, what are you learning right now that's pointing you in the direction of the future person that you need to be. So, all right, guys, let's move into the last thing. And the last thing is this: the question that is in front of me that was given to me today was this question: how do you maximize your downtime? How do you maximize your downtime? Now, I love this question. I think this is great because the fact of the matter is you end up with a lot of downtime. I would challenge you to do this. Map your day out. Just for commit to do it for a week. For 1 week, map your days out. And by map them out, I don't mean in advance. I mean actually log your day. So, for example, for me, right, it would be 5:30 a.m. wake up, right? 5:45 a.m. at the gym, right? 6:30 a.m. Sitting down and I'll do devotional reading. And then the next thing I'll do is I'll do the word puzzles that I do. Then the next thing I do is I will make myself a cup of coffee and sit down with whatever my book is that I'm reading, right? And the next thing I'll do is I'll take a shower, and the next thing I'll do is make the bed, and the next thing I'll do is daily meditation time, and so on and so forth, so on and so forth, and track how you're really using your time. Because the first problem people have with maximizing downtime is they don't realize how much of it they have. So you may think that you're busy, 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 busy. And boy, I saw this. Where did I see this recently? I love this. Um, I cannot think of who said this, but they were talking about the fact that busyness is just a form of laziness. And I love that because busyness, being busy with no clearly defined direction, is really just avoiding the direction you need to go. So go through, recount. Actually, how are you using the points of your day? Recently, my wife and I have done this, and we realized that there's this point in the evening when I've kind of finished most of my daily stuff and we're winding down at the end of the day, and we'll sit down and we'll usually throw on some YouTube channels. We've got some different things that we watch, some like cooking content because that's her area of interest, or it might be a show that we like to watch, right? And we will watch maybe a couple of episodes, or we'll watch a few handful of videos, right? And we'll sit down at the end of the day, and we'll just do that, and we'll just engage with that. But we realized recently that there's probably about an hour worth of that time that we could be using that's actually, I mean, we're just consuming. We're not actually being productive in any way. And we can still have some of that time, but we could use an hour of that time every day to be productive and achieve more than we're currently achieving. So we've committed to using that hour on something productive, whether it be learning something new or whether it be making plans for the next day. But that would be the first thing. So the first thing I would recommend, if you want to maximize your downtime, first of all, find it. Figure out where you're consistently not doing anything productive. I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna remind you of something that I say a lot, which is you have to be a creator, not a consumer first. I know, I know. I want to play another round of Overwatch 2. I want to watch the next episode of that Netflix series too. I want to, I also want to, you know what? I am also stressed. I also want to blow off steam. But commit to cutting that time in half. Just in half. Whatever it is. So if you're playing 4 hours of Overwatch a day, maybe start by playing 2 hours of Overwatch a day and then using those other 2 hours for something that's productive, right? So the it's all about knowing where the productive points are. It's all about knowing when you're consuming instead of creating and committing to doing half as much. Just commit to half as much. I'm not saying don't get rid of all your consumption, but commit to doing half as much consuming as you're doing creating. So that would be the second thing. And then the third thing I would say is you need to be intentional about the way that you plan your week and the way that you plan your days. Now, again, my idea planner that I have, that can help you with that, right? It helps you plan your week around the idea acronym. That's I, which is for your it is for your identity. D, which is for your disciplines. Those are the daily habits that we create. E, which is execution, which are the large decisions that we make that move us towards one area of our life or another. And A, which is for accountability. How are you staying accountable to the commitments that you're making, right? So, idea. So, the planner is designed to help you set up your week that way. And then the commitment planner is to help you set up your day for the commitments that you're going to do. And a lot of maximizing that downtime is keeping the 7 commitments. I'll tell you what, try me for a week. For a week, make and keep the 7 commitments every single day. They don't have to be different every day. If you're learning about how to edit videos today, tomorrow you can learn about how to edit videos. Like you can keep the same area of learning. You can keep the same promise to yourself every day for a week, right? But commit to every day making the 7 commitments and keeping them. And tell me if you don't see a change. And if you don't see a change, I'll give you your money back because it's a free planner. So there you go. I'll give you nothing back. But I'll tell you, it will change your life. If you make and keep the 7 commitments, it will change your life. And then here's the other part, and this is the least intuitive piece of this. It is this. Um, it's good to make the commitments. It's vitally important to keep the commitments, but it's almost as important to reflect at the end of your day on the commitments, right? So you have to have a daily process of reflection on how did I keep those commitments throughout my day? The way I express it to myself is what are 3 wins that I had today? You should walk out of every single day with 3 wins that you had from that day. If you can't, then you need to think harder or you need to be more intentional about how you're keeping track of your day, right? So 3 wins. What are 3 things you succeeded at that day? What are some things that you might need to carry forward to the next day? And what are some things that you might want to reflect on? So, in order to maximize your downtime, to recap, number 1, track your time. Know when your downtime is. Number 2, commit to creating or being productive twice as much, at least twice as much as you consume. Number 3, plan your week and your day around commitments and keep those commitments. And number 4, build a process of reflection so you can look back and see where your successes have been in keeping those commitments so you can track the progress that you're making. If you do those things, you will maximize your downtime 100%. Now, let me throw this caveat out there that I think the 9th or 10th chapter in my book is called When You Can't Optimize, Maximize. So for me, optimizing something is I'm going to do it the absolute best that it can be done, and I'm not going to stop until I'm the best at it. There are some things in your life that you should optimize. Those are for you to decide, right? There are areas of your life where you should perform at the highest that anybody is performing. You should always be striving for that. But everything cannot be optimized. As I've said a million times, when everything is a priority, nothing is a priority. So everything cannot be optimized. So know the difference between what can be optimized and what can be maximized. And by maximized, I mean that you're doing as much as you can in that area without taking away from other things that are more important, that are actually driving you towards your future. So when you can't optimize, maximize, and this is a great way to maximize your time. Let's see what does it say here? Tal, I did finish my seed course. I saw that, but I feel like there's more to learn. Just don't know which way to turn. So Tal, that's a great question. So, um, seed, which is all about kind of leadership, right? In that space, there's so many different sources of leadership learning that you can go to. There's a ton of great people on YouTube that I can recommend for you. There are communities like our Discord where, there's communities like this where we talk about leadership on a regular basis. There are tons of different books that you can read that are absolutely amazing. So there's a lot of places to learn. Sometimes you just have to seek them. There's coaching that you can get. That's one of the things I recommend. Listen, I recommend that everybody have a coach, guys. I have coaches. I think that everybody should have a coach, that you should never hire a coach that doesn't have a coach, but you always have to have someone who's mentoring you and who's pushing you to achieve the next level. If you don't have that, that's something I think you should have. So, listen, guys, I think I'm going to wrap this here. I know that we said we were going to shoot for 2 hours, but I think 90 minutes maybe is where I'm going to cap this for today. I want to appreciate all of you guys for being here. I think this has been amazing. I hope that you've taken something away from it. Again, if you're on the Twitch side, please follow for more of this type of content. Or if you are on the YouTube side, please hit me with a subscription. I do this because I have a message, and that message is you have greater things ahead of you. You have a moment of greatness that's waiting for you. As I always say, in fact, to end every week, you have a moment of greatness that's waiting for you, but it's not coming for you. It's up to you to pursue that moment. All right, my friends, it's a privilege. It's a pleasure. I hope to see you again next time. Until then, be great.